Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are doing another review for Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Episode 4, and this is called In a Pickle. So we know from the last episode that Karen invited the group or mentioned the idea of doing a pickleball event. So this is what pretty much this episode is mainly centered on, along with the ongoing drama with the group. So we start the scene with Nneka. I'm actually, just to make sure I'm saying things right, I'm just going to call her Nneka, because I feel like if I try to, I'm not sure how to say her name, and I don't want to continue to butcher her name. And same thing with the person who I reviewed last week, Keiana. I think it's actually enunciated Keiana, but I believe in the recap I spelled her name wrong. But let me know in the comments how it's said. Again, I do want to apologize ahead of time if I butcher any of the people that I speak to's name, just because I already told y'all forever ago, phonics has never been like, I've never been strong. I've never been very good at that. Like, I literally had to take speech classes for that, and I'm still not that great. So there's that. Anyway, but we start with Nneka. She's picking up her husband from the airport. We find out that her husband, I think his name is Ike. And I'm not sure if that's how you say his name. It looks like that's how you say his name. But again, it's a Nigerian name, and that's not really my primary culture, so I don't know. But anyway, we find out that he does traveling medicine. So he actually leaves twice a month, and for a whole week, twice a month. So he's pretty much in, the Potomac area for like 2 weeks out of the month, but it's like alternate. And then the rest of the time he's off traveling doing traveling medicine. And which is challenging because we know that Nneka's they're trying to have a family. They're trying to get started with that. And while they're talking this over, and while she's driving them back home, Karen contacts Nneka to invite them to the pickleball event. And Karen mentions in her confessional she's trying to bring all the ladies together, to resolve the issues, which is pretty much on brand for Karen. She's a person who likes to bring the people together and try to resolve the things. So makes sense. I wouldn't expect anything less from the Grand Dame. But back to the scene, we do find out so we're talking more now about Nneka and her conflict with Wendy. We find out a couple things. That Wendy does know Nneka, but I don't know if she knows her as like knowing her personally, knowing her business or whatnot. And so to me, this argument of whether I know you or not know you is a callback, because that's actually a similar situation that happened with Wendy when she first joined the show and Karen. So it's crazy that Wendy's doing the same thing to Nneka that Karen did to her. But it's still semantics and stupid, because y'all know each other, y'all just don't know each other. Like, you probably don't know her business like that. Okay, semantics. We're literally arguing semantics. So that's one of the issues that's definitely still a thing. And then the other issue, and this is all, of course, according to Nneka's POV, is that we find out that Ike and Eddie went to college together. So they actually ran into each other, have ran into each other during college. And so according to Nneka, they were in an African society group together in college, and they were friends. Like, they knew each other in college. Which, that means something later on in this episode. And Eddie unfollowed Nneka's husband on Facebook when things started to transpire between Nneka and Wendy. And then Nneka shades Eddie, saying that apparently Wendy's wears the pants in the family. And I have thoughts on that when we come to the conclusion, because it's interesting. I just want to say that. And then we also see that, and so Nneka's husband chimes in. It's like, well, maybe she's intimidated and she wants to be the only Nigerian in the group on the show. I mean, that's literally what we mean. And I know they're not going to say that, but they mean on the show. And it's just weird because this whole entire conflict is about whether they know each other and the fact that Wendy's family came at Nneka. Which wasn't Wendy directly, it was Wendy's family. Wendy had nothing to do with it, or maybe has, we don't know. But at the end of the day, Nneka's issues really should be Wendy's family, not really Wendy. Which, again, that comes to play later on the episode. So they get home and they're trying to have this baby because apparently she's already ovulating. And again, she keeps mentioning drinking and then trying to have a baby. And I'm like, girl, for her being married to a doctor, does she not understand, like, you probably should be not killing the brain cells by drinking the alcohol and trying to have a baby? Apparently, she needs that to be in the mood, which I'm kind of like, girl, that's kind of odd. But anyway, that's where that scene ends. But my thoughts on this, I'll just say this, is, and maybe I'm a little naive, I want to know what the timeline is between when Ashley said what she said at her housewarming party and then this. Like the whole thing with what happened with Wendy's family. I want to know that because they're paid. The producers are producing and putting a story out there that this happened prior to like her being on the show. But you know that the editing and all that, we don't know how long that is in between time. You know what I mean? So even though they said that was last week, that was last week episode wise, but was that really last week? I don't know. So I don't know if, so to me, this is what I was thinking when I first saw this scene, that maybe, just maybe, Ashley's thing that she said to Wendy was the issue for real. And Wendy went and told her mom, and then her mom told her whole family. And unbeknownst to Wendy, when she told her whole family, she didn't know that Nneka's cousin-in-law is friends with her sister. She didn't know that because, I'm sorry, me having siblings, and I know my siblings are half siblings, I don't know all their friends, I don't know all the people they hang out with. So, again, it kind of does make sense that Wendy can maybe know of her, but don't really know her. So I'm still trying to give Wendy grace based upon that. But if the timeline is truly the timeline of the show for real and how they're presenting it, then yeah, it does sound like Wendy was trying to keep her off the show because it sounds like Nneka was maybe trying to use her name because of a knowing of. Which still, again, could be valid, but I don't think it has to do with like her being the one and only Nigerian. And I really most certainly hope not. But the way Wendy was acting towards the end, we'll get to it, I don't know. I don't know what to believe right now. Which is good. That keeps it interesting. I just don't really love this storyline though, because I don't like how culturally two sisters should be like, y'all should be a unit. Y'all should be a force. I don't like the divide. But anyway, next thing. So next we have Robin meeting Giselle to get drinks together. So they're talking to each other about their kids briefly. So as we know, Rob's kids, they're both boys, but they're like younger than like Giselle's children. Grace is getting ready to go to college. We know about that. And so then Karen texts Robin while they're there to invite her to pickleball. And then she also invited Juan. And Giselle asks if Juan is coming to the event. And, Robin says yeah. And, Robin's telling us, I don't care. Which I'm kind of just like, Robin is just kind of annoying. I really just wish she wasn't there. But that's neither here nor there. And So then we find out that Robin and Giselle had a live podcast event in Atlanta, and Juan was there, and Giselle discussed that they had actually a conversation, Juan and Giselle, about everything that's been happening. And Giselle claims that Rob yelled at her, and Robin's calling BS. And I think it's a little bit of truth. So we see, because what Giselle was saying was he kept repeating, I didn't do anything with that woman, I didn't do anything with that woman, multiple times. Which to me, that does check out, because we saw in the previous episode that he likes to repeat himself. Juan repeats himself. If anything else, when Juan is sticking to the story, he repeats himself over and over again, like within the same sentence. So that checks out. Okay? But it is Giselle. And Giselle's known them for a very long time, so she would know that. Because I would assume that might be just how he talks. He repeats himself a lot. And he does like to elevate his voice. Now, I don't know if he's really yelling or not. I feel like he was yelling. But I think Robin is kind of delusional herself. And because he always yells, she doesn't see it as him yelling. Even though he literally always yells. But that is true. He does always yell. He yells a lot. So I think actually Giselle was actually completely correct in what she said. I think for once Giselle was not putting 20 on 10. I think she really was, but Robin just wasn't having it. Robin, if anything else, because Giselle's her best friend, she knows how to dismiss her and shut her up super quickly by not feeding into it. So she gave her nothing. So Giselle dropped it. She's like, okay, I'm dropping it. And so then we see that Robin discussed the conversation they had with Nneka, and she retells what happened, and she kind of tells it wrong. And I don't like the storyline, because I don't like the messing with religion, messing with cultures, religions plural, and cultures. Because hoodoo and voodoo are not evil. They're not evil things. They're spiritual things that belong to someone else's culture. That's not really okay. And even as a Christian, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be talking about other people's religions and saying it's greater than. Like, in my opinion. I mean, that's like, because I do consider myself a Christian, but I'm probably one of the most liberal Christians you could think of, because I don't like to condemn other people's religions, POVs, or anything. You know, what you believe is what you believe, because what you believe is not my business at the end of the day. As long as you can, sleep well at night, that's on you. And as long as you're like a good person, that's on you. Because I'm also a firm believer there's more than one way to paradise. So, which isn't really quite, I don't know. But my whole thing is, though, I don't like that we're trying to paint voodoo as like witchcraft, because they're not the same thing. They're not even the same like religion. They're not the same. They're both like considered the occult, but they're still not the same thing. That's like saying Christianity and Muslim are the same. They're not. They're just not. So I don't like it. I don't like that they're doing that, and they're really, really overly focusing on Wendy's mom. And to me, that doesn't sit well with me that you're talking about someone's mom. So anyway, she tells this to Giselle, and Giselle is eating it up, because we know Giselle does not like Wendy, so she's totally eating this up. But to me, again, it's all gross. I don't like it. I really would love for this to get resolved within the next couple of episodes, next episode or two, so we can just be done with this storyline, because I don't like it. I really don't. Like, it's stupid. It's offensive. It's like super offensive, to be honest. It's actually not really okay. Like, it's just offensive. Like, and you're also feeding into African stereotypes, like American African stereotypes that divides Black people and African people. That's literally what this is to me, in my opinion. I don't like it. Let's not do this. Stop it, guys. Stop it. Anyway, but that is where the scene kind of ends. Them talking about that. And also, too, the one thing that I'll say this too before I end it, because you can tell I just don't like the storyline, and it's hard for me to review it because I don't like it. It's really I don't. So Nneka did state, I don't know, I'm starting to and I'll tell you this later on in the episode, but I feel like I'm starting to catch Nneka, and I'm starting to catch Nneka in a lie, I feel like. Because I vehemently remember Nneka said that her mom says she has a shrine. We're going to see later on that she said someone else said it. And even Wendy caught it. So, but according to Robin, when she told Giselle, she said Nneka said that she is Nneka said that her mom said that she had the shrine. Which I also don't remember Wendy's mom ever saying that. I thought Nneka said that she thought that based upon how, Wendy's mom was acting. And to me, Wendy's mom, based off of what happened in the last episode, was she was just being a protective mom. And, she did mention, have I ever prayed against you? Which, yeah, that's wrong. You shouldn't be praying against anyone, because what is that? You just don't do that. But I could totally see her saying something like that. That I believe. That part I believe, but the other stuff, I'm like, now we're mixing religions, and now we're trying to offend a whole bunch of cultures now. Awesome. I don't like that part. But anyway, I'm going to stop the ranting on that. Let's move on. Okay, next. We have Candace hanging out with her mom. And she's stating her relationship with her mom has improved since she has really been following her dreams of being a musician. Okay, so we see that her relationship has improved with her mom. She's talking to her mom about the tour and the cost of it. So we find out through this scene that the first wave of the tour was to help promote her music. And it wasn't about making money or anything like that. So she put a whole bunch of money into it. And I love this because I'm not as familiar with the logistics of touring and stuff like that when it comes to the music business. I hear about it a little bit, but this is probably one of the first times where I'm getting to hear more of the inside of it. And this is exactly what I wanted. So if we could focus more on this, that'd be great. Some people might find this part boring. I don't. I personally find this part interesting. And so then we find out that the second leg of the tour is to hopefully try to recoup the money that they put out to basically promote the music. So the first wave was basically for promotional purposes, and this is now to hopefully recoup. And she was talking about, Chris isn't really happy about the cost of how much everything costs. And then they showed the scene from, I think it was episode 2, where Chris and Candace were talking about that a little bit. And her mom asked about if Chris is making money in her shady way. Because Candace's mom is a character. She is more of a character than even Wendy's mom, because reading's fundamental when it comes to Candace's mom, when we see how and where Candace gets her reads from and how it just comes off like that. They're the reading wordsmiths. That's just what they do. And so Wendy's mom even had to preface this as she was saying, she's like, look, I'm not trying to be shady. I'm really legitimately asking. Because even how she said it, it comes off shady, but she really wasn't trying to be shady. She's like, I'm really not trying to be shady. And so Candace receives it. She's like, okay. Yeah, because then it kind of goes into talking about the situation issues that Chris and Candace had last season. Not just with Giselle, helping with the issues, but one of the issues that Candace and Chris had was Chris's lack of work-life balance, because when he had that job last season, he was working really late hours and they were rarely seeing each other. And so basically he ended up quitting, and Candace states in the confessional, happy wife, happy life. Catch that. She's like, catch it. I was like, right? Catch it. And but now Candace is like on the road and stuff constantly. So Candace does acknowledge it. Yeah, it is a double standard, because now she's doing literally what she was complaining to Chris about. But they are in a better place, it sounds like. It sounds like Candace and Chris are a little bit in a better place than they were last season, which is good. And then Candace's mom asked about Robin, and Candace states like, no, things still are not good. Like, because Candace firmly believes that even though Robin was not directly trying to do all the things that Giselle was doing, she feels like she was aware of it. It has something to do with it as a way of deflecting from her own relationship. So she doesn't trust, Robin as a result, because Robin had that whole entire firestorm that we all know of now. But, basically Candace's relationship was the focus that didn't need to be the focus, because there really was nothing going on. At least not what they were saying. Ironically, yeah, Candace and Chris were actually having issues, but it was more or less related to what she just said, So it wasn't real issues. It was like, normal issues that married couples have, basically. And so Candace's mom says, hey, don't stress about it. It is what it is. Like, just, try to not, deal with that and don't stress about it. And, Candace states like, hey, no, I actually got invited to Karen's pickleball event, so she's going to be there. So I'm probably going to have to deal with it, And that's where it ends. Next, so Karen's pickleball event takes place. So we see Ray and Karen and Karen's assistant showing up. And Ray and Karen have green outfits on because they're like pickles. So they kind of made it where it was like this cute pickle theme. So they had pickle juice, pickles. They were dressed like pickles. They're calling themselves Mr. and Mrs. Pickleball. And then they're going to play pickleball. So it was kind of hilarious. And then, of course, we see Giselle shows up first. Giselle, I feel like, always shows up early to events. That's just kind of her thing. And then next, we see Gordon and Mia show up next. Now, it wasn't focused on this. It wasn't focused. And I don't know if it's going to be called back later, but I did notice this. Gordon and Mia showed up separately. And they did not look like a united front. I got my good eye on them. I was curious why they showed up separately, and it just felt awkward. They didn't seem like they were really together. It seemed like they were like playing it off for the cameras. Y'all vow my words on that. Anyway, so Mia and Karen's greetings. Oh my gosh. It sends me. So now they've evolved to air kissing like this. Like, now they've evolved. They still no hugs yet. Because I was like, when's the church hug gonna happen? Because it's going to evolve from that to then the church hug, and then they're eventually going to do a full-on hug, unless Mia messes it up. Or Karen could, but it's probably usually, we know Karen ain't no starter. She's a finisher. Which, we'll get to that. Anyway, so Eddie and Wendy show up as the instructor starts to assist the ladies or the people who are there so far how to play pickleball, because they're already inside the pickleball place. And then, which I know pickleball is getting really, really popular, but I didn't know it's getting so popular they actually have like places where you could like play the pickleball. Like I've never seen like an actual pickleball court. All the times I've seen people play pickleball, they've always just played it on a tennis court. At least around here in the city. Because I do see people, a lot of people, pickleball is a thing. I know it's definitely a thing. Everyone's playing it. And I'm curious to play it, but I don't know. I actually rather play tennis, but that's just me. Anyway, so then we see that Candace and Vivian, who is Karen's friend, show up. There is obvious tension between Giselle and Candace. They didn't even talk to each other. They didn't even address each other. And Giselle's upset about Candace and what she said to her at the reunion. But the thing is, and this is what I don't like about Giselle, I'll never like her for this, is that she is not acknowledging that, again, Candace did not start that. She finished it. This comes into play a little bit. Candace didn't start that. She finished it. So, really, you can't be mad at what Candace said to you at the reunion when you're literally trying to break up her marriage. And so, Candace, in her confessional, saying she's mad at Giselle for negatively affecting her marriage. And so she says, F her for life. Well, she says, really, F that B for life. She's like, I'm never dealing with her. So I could tell because and to me, it's wild that Candace can still be cordial towards Ashley, who is just as vile, if not worse, but is completely done with Giselle. Anyway. So Ashley's there with her assistant steward. And so then Karen gave a PSA to the group, basically saying, hey, the purpose of this is to bring people together. I'm going to do some things to try to help with that. What happens after that, that ain't on me. Everyone's like, all right, understood. And so then Nneka shows up as Karen is putting the group together. And Karen intentionally definitely did put the group together put people who had issues together on the same team. So Mia, Wendy, and Nneka were on a team. And then Ashley, Giselle, and Candace were on the other team. And then as they're about to get started, Rob and Juan appear late as usual because Robin's always late. And the ladies and their confessional reactions. They were sending me. Candace, calling the player from the Himalayas, is here. And then Wendy's like, I thought he would have been in Canada. He's here. And then Karen's like, look at them showing up like they're like nothing happened. As a unit. And then Mia, which I think Mia's reads or shadiness is the best when she doesn't try. Because I don't think she was trying. I think she was trying to be diplomatic. She was like, well, he doesn't have a job. What else was he going to do? He's either sit at home or come to this event. To me, that was the funniest of them all because I've been saying that for weeks. Juan has been in every single episode of this show. He is the 9th housewife this season. He's been on the show more than Nneka has. And you're a husband. He's made an appearance every single episode. He went from we didn't know he still existed to like he's in every episode. It is cracking me up. It's like he is acting like this is a Real Housewives of New Jersey, and the house husbands get paid just like similar to like how like the housewives get paid in New Jersey. You're in the wrong franchise for that one. You better go to Real Housewives of New Jersey if you want that. Just saying. And so, anyway, Giselle states in her confessional that she's done with, she already talked to Juan about it, she's done with it. She already stated her case, she's not gonna talk about it anymore when it comes to Juan and Robin. Which we kind of knew that. We knew that. I feel like Giselle was literally only confronting Robin for the camera because she wants Robin to keep her job because they're really best friends in real life. So I think she did that for the camera. Gave us a little bit of what we wanted, but not really, because we knew she wasn't going to go as hard on Robin as she will on anyone else. That's just what it is. We knew that. I don't know. For those who didn't know that, y'all kind of delusional. I don't understand how y'all didn't know that. But anyway, so Candace states that she doesn't understand Rob's issues with her. And I'm like, Candace now. Come on, Candace. Now, Candace. Because Candace literally has been the main vocal housewife on this show who was upset about Robin doing everything she did, hiding her whole entire life for a whole entire season, and then trying to put the tea on it behind a paywall on her podcast that no one listens to. It's like, Candace now. You know why she's mad at you. She don't like being called out now. She didn't want that, so that's why she's mad. And then Robin, in her delusional way, is making it sound like that she's mad at Candace because she talked about her marriage. It's like, no, she didn't talk about your marriage. It's what you did. It's like, oh, Robin and Giselle, you guys, you know what makes a good housewife villain? You have to have some elements of likability. And I don't find it when it comes to Robin, really. Giselle, maybe just her time with her daughters, but that's it. I don't know. But anyway. So then, Robin, and I've noticed this every single episode this season, Robin has been dressing like the way she's been dressing has been different than any other season. She's been showing the body. And I will say this, I will give her props on this. Her body is bodying. Like, you could tell she's drinking her water, eating her fruits and vegetables. Like, she slimmed down. She looks good. She does look good. But she's wearing, according to Karen, a sheer Batman-looking suit, showing her vajayjay, and no one wants to see that. Robin, she's like, Juan don't even want it. What? She said that in her confessional. Then she's like, wait, take it back. And I'm like, Karen, y'all supposed to be trying to be cool again. We knew that wasn't going to last. We already knew. Because Karen can't help herself. The shade writes itself. She's like, it's right here. It was like the shade, like she's like the alley-oop. Like, she just can't help herself. I rewound that back multiple times because I was like, Karen. Karen. So as this is happening, the shady producers then like have Juan mic'd up asking about threesome. He's not, and the threesome he's asking about it was about how are they teaming up to play pickleball, because now Karen is on the team, and then Robin's on another team, because originally it was going to be 3-on-3. So that's what he meant. So that's what he meant by threesomes. But of course, because Ron and all his accusations from the past, the shady production had that, and Ray explained to them, no, normally you would just play doubles. And so Juan's like, they're just doing their own thing for this right now. And he's like, yeah, they're just doing their own thing. That's not how you normally play pickleball. Which, that was kind of good information because I was kind of confused too. I was like, isn't pickleball still kind of like tennis where the most you do is doubles? And yeah, that's what it is. You either do single or doubles. I was like, that makes sense. Okay, got it. Anyway, so the ladies start to play the game, and Candace's team is called Team Ish Starters, and then the Wendy's team is called Team Finish Her. Finishers. Like, but it's spelled like finish her. It was cute. Anyway, the guys are also playing on another court, and the guys, I always love when the house husbands and partners are like bonding. So I think it kind of, towards the end, I wasn't liking this episode because I didn't like that some of the house husbands were beefing. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But so they look like they were having fun. They were having a good time, and I did enjoy that. And it was a really good, cool scene to see everyone playing, being cordial. And anyway, so then it was fun to watch. So they show a little montage of them playing, and like they were really getting into it. And then Keiana and then Cal, which is Giselle's assistant, shows up. They said Giselle's stylist, and I'm sorry. I changed it to assistants because I don't believe that's her stylist. Because if that is your stylist, you need to fire that man. Because girl, you still ain't got no style. You just don't. No shade, but you ain't got it. It's just, it's not shade. Is it shady if it's a fact and you're just calling out a fact? I'm just asking a question. I'm not trying to be shady. Anyway, so Karen thanks everyone for coming and states that it was even big that Robin showed up. And then as that happened, then Juan excuses himself along with Ike, which is Nneka's husband, from the scene. And I want to call this out real quick. Because even what happened afterwards when things started to transpire, editors, I gotta get on you a little bit. Because there was a moment where, Juan and them left and they were playing, but then when the confrontation happened, which was right after this, they're right there with the group. But then towards the end of the confrontation, what kind of broke up the confrontation a little bit, Juan was back playing pickleball. Do better, editors, because I don't know what order happened here, and now I'm a little confused about what happened. And I'll be honest, this thing all way kind of confused me because I think the editing could have been done a little bit better. Because I don't know what happened, but the fact that I was able to notice that, and I didn't need to rewatch that. I saw that on the first watch. That's pretty bad. I could see that on the first watch. So I'm calling y'all out on that. Why did that happen that way? Because I didn't, there was no him coming back. It was like Juan was there, he stayed gone, and then he came, but then they show him just sitting there, but then he wasn't. So that was confusing. I'll just say that. So Juan and them excuse himself, which makes sense because y'all already know the mess is about to happen. So he knew it because he's a vet. He's like, oh, the mess is about to happen. I'm out. So I forgot where it started, but long story less long, Wendy and Nneka just start going at it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to check out every time that happens. I'm starting to kind of check out. I tried to rewatch it, and I still got confused because the scene leading up to it, even though there was tension, there was still some lightness there. And for whatever reason, with them two going at it, it's just dark. And not in a good way. It's I don't like watching it. And because from Nneka, it seems like she might be telling the truth in some ways, but also I'm catching some things that seem off with that. But then, even though I'm a Wendy fan, I do like Wendy on the show, because I don't know any of these people in real life. I'm starting to catch Wendy and looking at her kind of weird. So I'm kind of confused on what's really happening here. And then you see in the sideline as they're going at it, Ashley is kind of not really eating, doesn't appear to be eating it up as much as like Robin and Giselle. Them two are eating it up and loving it. But Ashley ain't really doing much to stop it. And then Mia is like, whoop, like at first, saying, "Oh, that makes sense," because she's, she's going against Wendy because Wendy and her still have conflict. And so they're going back and forth about, do they know each other? Back to, Wendy and Nneka. And then Nneka calls out, "Your family has been attacking me." And first she said, "You and your family have been attacking me." Nneka said that. And then she was like, "No, your family has been attacking me." And then Wendy's like, "Wait a minute, you said I was attacking you, but now you're saying just my family. Which one is it?" So Wendy was catching her, but also too, there were parts where Wendy was stumbling a little bit. I'm just like, girl, can what some of the things Nneka be saying is kind of true? I'm looking at you a little funny. You're looking a little funny in the light. You're looking a little funny in the light. Because one of the things that Nneka was saying is like, you know me. And so she mentioned the people that, how her family, but she's like, how would my family be in this? And then she called who it was. She's like, and then all of a sudden she admitted that she knew of the cousin. But like, the response to me didn't make sense if you didn't know her for real. Because if you don't know her for real, what my response would have been that related to that cousin-in-law was like, I didn't know that was your cousin-in-law. She didn't respond that way. If you would respond, I didn't know that was your cousin-in-law, that would then kind of almost confirm that you really don't know her like that. But she didn't respond that way. And I'm just like, you know her. And you know her more than what you're saying you know her. So I'm starting to believe you do know her more than what you're saying. Which, Wendy, that's making me looking at you weird. And then the whole entire time while this has happened, Candace is just trying to break it up. She's like, no. She's all, Candace, you and I are here. Y'all are two Nigerian sisters. Stop this. Because honestly, the other thing that I would prefer, if them two have issues, them two need to talk about it individually away from the rest of the group. Not in front of hyenas that are eating this up. And by hyenas, I mean the green eye bandits. Plus Ashley. Don't add them into this mix. It dilutes things, it makes it worse, and now you have people that are going to put gasoline on it and make it worse. Whereas it sounds like the beef, and then Candace was even trying to be voice to reach. She's like, so you guys are beefing, so she was like, Nneka, so your problem with Wendy is over like what her family said and not what Wendy said herself? That's not fair. And I was like, exactly, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Now, you can look at her a certain way, but you shouldn't be beefing over it. It's more for conversation to see if y'all are good, but y'all still shouldn't be beefing all the way. It's crazy. And so, as all this is happening, then Wendy just excuses herself because she could tell she's getting really upset and there's no reasoning with her. And the reason why Wendy gets up, because then Nneka mentions the shrine. And she's like, my mom worships of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And then Nneka mentions like during the day, but at night she has a shrine. And that's when Wendy's like, okay. But the way Wendy did it, and I don't know if it was how she did it or if the editors edited her a certain way. She excused herself, but she's like, she's like, you know what I will resolve today? I'm going to resolve the issue that I have with Mia. So her and Mia go and talk on the side. But the thing is, when she did that, she gave Robin gas to say, oh, look who's deflecting. And it's just like, I'm sorry, Robin. I would just sit there and eat your food. Because you of all people, your middle name, your last name should be Deflect. Deflect. Okay? That's all you did for a whole entire season last season. So I would sit there and eat your food. Like, come on now. Wrong person. Possibly right message, but all the way wrong messenger. So me and her do resolve things, kind of. I was confused by that too. It just came off forced and kind of fake. And so it went from that to then now Candace is talking to Wendy, trying to de-escalate her, but Wendy's already hyped and just doing the most and just kind of, saying she's looking for a moment. She's looking for a moment. I'm not going to give her that moment as she's doing all that. I'm just like, Wendy, I want to be on your side, but when you do all that, I'm not on your side. You're doing the moment thing, even though you're saying someone else is looking for the moment. What is that? What is that? And so while Candace is trying to reason with her, and Candace is also just getting exhausted, she's like, I'm tired, child. Because Candace, she has legitimate issues with two people on this show, and she ain't acting like that. I love the way Candace is moving this season. Actually, the past couple seasons, I've been loving how Candace has been moving. I'm like, chef's kiss. Anyway, but then on the other side, we have Nneka trying to, Nneka's still mad, still elevated. And Mia's actually trying to de-escalate that. She's like, but is it really like y'all beefing over what her family said? That's kind of wild. Because Mia kind of can understand it a little bit because Wendy's mom went after Mia. But yet, it's not enough where Mia cares like that. Mia's not even using that against Wendy. She's using her issues that she has with Wendy against Wendy. Which her issues with Wendy is that she's mad that Wendy won't forgive her for assaulting her. So yeah, I mean, there's delusion all the way around. Let's not get twisted. But then out of nowhere, Wanda's playing pickleball and runs into the food, which then the gas thing that keeps the food warm falls along with the food and then catches the carpet on fire. And, Candace is like, see, the demons are here. That part was kind of funny because that part was funny. But the rest of it, I was like, this is so dark. And so it actually kind of stupid. I think that's the other reason why I don't like it. It's really stupid. Because then you're bringing voodoo into this. Because then that was mentioned too. And for me, once you start going into religion and trying to use religion as an insult, I'm kind of done. I check out. I don't like that kind of rhetoric at all. When it comes to anything, I think that's really kind of vile and disgusting to use other people's beliefs as a form of get you gotcha. I think that's just kind of messed up. Unless it's truly hateful beliefs. But religion can be hateful, I know that, I'm very aware. But in this light, I don't like it. You already know I don't like it. But anyway, it goes from there to then Nneka brings up the Eddie thing in Facebook with her husband. And then now she dragged her husband into it. And now her husband's active. Eddie's now activated. Because Eddie's like, wait, what? How? Now how I get in it? And Eddie really does have a genuine look like, I don't know what you're talking about. But there's receipts that the producers show that Eddie did unfriend him after all this happened. I'm confused by that. That's where I'm confused at. And then Nneka's husband is trying to talk to Eddie about it, but Nneka keeps intervening. And you remember how I said earlier, Nneka said something about how Wendy wears the pants in the family? Watching this final scene in this final little part, it was giving projection. Nneka clearly wears the pants in her family. Because she was not letting her man talk and discuss this with the other man. If the men have conflict, let the men resolve it. And she was not having it. And Wendy, all Wendy was doing was just trying to get Eddie out of there. She's like, oh, no, we're not doing this with them. They really want a moment. Because even Wendy called out her confessional, and I agree with this too. Y'all beefing over Facebook? Really? I know there's plenty of people on social media that don't, when y'all don't like each other, y'all unfriend each other or whatever. But I have plenty of people on Facebook that I just like stuff. I start unfriending them when I don't really talk to them or really hang out with them, or I don't really want them in my business. I just hit unfollow, or I don't care what they got going on. Like, I don't know. For me, that's a little moot point, because if you know the history of Facebook also, Facebook used to be, back in the day, for those who are younger who might be watching this, Facebook used to be a college-only social media platform. So if you're in college, the only people that could have Facebook back before it became what it is today, because there used to be MySpace. I'm telling you my age right here. MySpace was the original Facebook, where anyone and everyone could be your friend on that. Facebook kind of stole that once MySpace went more of a different direction. Because now, I don't even know, I think MySpace is a music site now. Because that was one of the cool things about MySpace. But Facebook kind of took over what MySpace was doing originally. But Facebook originally was just for kids. It was for college kids. So all of us that were in college were able to connect with friends that, went to different places in college and be able to talk to each other still. So like a lot of times, your friends from high school go to different colleges, go away and stuff. It was a way for you to still connect with other college kids. That's what the site was originally. I don't know how long Eddie has had his site, because I feel like Eddie and Wendy and them are like in the same age range as me. So if they had their Facebook for that long, it would not be that uncommon to just unfriend people after, you just do a scrub after so often. Because I've done multiple scrubs on my Facebook where I unfriend people. Because I haven't talked to some of these people in like almost, it's been like 20 years. Like some of them I ain't talked to in 20 years. So why do I care what you got going on? It's like that. So to me, it's really dumb, the Facebook thing at the end. So yeah, that's kind of what I took from the episode. I really hope this ends soon, because I'm just kind of over this whole situation. The next episode looks good though. It was a really, really good episode though. And hopefully we get a clear timeline of what's happening, because that's part of my main confusion. I want to know this is my takeaway. It's been my takeaway for the last couple episodes. When did Ashley say what she said? Before I end this, Wendy, now, I'm with you when you're right, but when you're wrong, you're wrong. Why are you using what Ashley said to you originally as a part of the argument with Nneka? Ashley has already told you that that's not what she said. And now you're using it as part of the argument. That was the other reason why I was looking at Wendy funny. So I don't know I feel like they're both kind of not telling the whole entire truth. I feel like there's definitely three sides here. Wendy, you know Nneka. Stop acting like you don't know her. Nneka, you are kind of a clout chaser. You really want to be on this show. And you're kind of mad that Wendy's family caught that and checked you on it. And y'all need to stop the BS what Candace said and just come together as Nigerian women and stop it. Because honestly, this episode, Wendy, this didn't make you look good. Nneka already wasn't looking good, but you let this woman drag you down with her. So now neither of y'all look that great at the end of this episode. Y'all both look wild at the end of this episode. And I hate that for both of y'all. And now you have the brigade of the Green-Eyed Bandits plus Ashley snickering and grinning and getting their whole entire life over y'all doing this. Tragic. And I'm not gonna lie, even Karen was kind of giving me weird vibes of how she was like looking at all this. I didn't like it. Karen, because she didn't try to de-escalate this. That's the other thing. I almost forgot. She did not try to de-escalate this, which was kind of weird. Karen, were you trying to start some mess? Is your alliance or coolness with Giselle, is Giselle's habits rubbing off on you? So instead of Giselle doing it because the girls don't like her enough for them to come together, you're doing it instead? Because the way you were kind of trying to make it comedic, when to me none of it was funny. I don't know if you're trying to do it because it was that awkward that you're trying to make it funny or trying to like distract it, but it just kind of felt weird. But anyway, that does conclude the episode. I am liking Potomac. It took me the 4th episode to realize I do like it. I don't like this storyline, but I like Potomac because I do see where it's going. And the other thing is, I saw a preview. I think we finally get to see why Robin was on the side of the curb. I know, that sounded evil. But I'm happy about that. Maybe that's the other reason why I'm hyped. Because the preview for the next episode, it got me and pulled me right back in. I was like, oh, maybe I'm done with Potomac. And it pulled me right back in. Which is a great reality TV show. If it is so compelling, evokes enough emotions, good or bad, because for me it's been mainly bad when it comes to Potomac, but then does enough to pull you back in, you got a decent show in your hands. Anyway, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.